Welcome back to the currently unknown and unnamed podcast. You are back with myself and Ellen. Ellen, how are we doing?
I'm living the dream, Charlie. How are you?
Yeah, really, really good. Thank you. Really good. Been a busy week so far. Yeah, good to jump on with you again. And I'm very, very, very pleased to welcome a man who has very little playing experience in 11-a-side football. One of my best friends growing up, and the only man to stop an 11-a-side youth game of football to request a coat from his father on the sidelines. I'd love to welcome to the pod Nick Mills. Nick, how are you?
Well, after that excellent introduction, I don't feel I need to say any more words. To be honest, I think my credentials speak for themselves.
I think that you're absolutely up there with one of the greats. A bit of background for you. So Nick does have his own podcast, the Millsy and Mason Football Hootenanny. It's not been live for a little while, but
I was going to say, I think you mean had his own podcast. Excellent memories, though. Excellent memories.
apologies. Yes, I mean you had me on a guest on there must be a couple of years ago now, Nick. So I thought it only fair to return the favour. Now, the first segment is one I've definitely not stolen from another podcast. Nick, what is your go-to meal deal?
Go-to
You
meal
will
deal.
be.
Well,
You will be judged. You will be judged on this.
it's been a while since I've had a meal deal. If I'm honest, I don't live in the UK anymore, and Germany don't do meal deals. They don't eat sandwiches here. So when I had one, it was, I think, something like chicken and stuffing was the go-to thing. I love a bit of stuffing.
I mean,
Uh,
this is a family-friendly podcast. Let's just throw it out there. But yeah, just a strong choice.
and I think as I think I definitely had crisps, probably salt and vinegar Walkers if they're part of it, or if not that, then Monster Munch pickled onion.
Not a fan of a ridged crisp, might I add. I ask everybody this.
Oh, these days I'm a big fan of Rich Crisp. I'm a big Ridgy boy.
What's your go-to flavour? Are we talking McCoy's?
Definitely a McCoy's. I would say something like a barbecue beef. It used to be like a smoky bacon, but I've edged towards the beef these days.
And what about the old Bevragino?
For a drink, ooh, probably just a Coke, I think, or even a water. These days it'd be water. Me guts can't handle Coke these days, but I'll take a water.
You are wild.
You could branch out into like a smoothie or a juice. Would you theoretically be keen for one of those?
Ooh, theoretically, I would love a good old juice. I'm a big smoothie man these days. I'll take a smoothie if a smoothie's on offer.
Now, before we move on very briefly, the podcast will start in a minute, by the way, guys. There's many, many memories of me and Nick having partaken in many Euro shopper experiences, if you recall that, Nick.
How could I not? It was the best 38p can of Coke I've ever had in my life, or orangeade if you want it, if you're that kind of person.
I'm sure we could have our own podcast, mate, just going through previous experiences, including the great Championship Manager 2006 Fallout. But I digress. We'll move on. Ellen, Ellen, first game back for the Ford last week, taking a 4-2 win. What was your thoughts on that one?
I'm not going to lie to you. My prevailing memory was heat, but also like really pleased that we came back from 2-0 down. I think those first 5 minutes, I was a bit sort of, oh crumbs, how's this gonna go? Definitely, from my perspective, I was struggling with the heat. But yeah, really, really positive to sort of come back from that and end up on top.
Yeah, I mean, it was a really hard game, and we started off slow. Nick, you've been in enough grassroots games to know that things can go wrong. And I'll be honest, mate, this week I made a wrong decision and I forgot the kit. So we had some trialists with us, and yeah, they were without kit for a little while, so that sort of dampened our starts. But to come back and win 4-2, I think was really good. Great to see Skip get another hat trick, and obviously Alicia, who was on trial, sadly she's opted to go and sign for Dursley now. But yeah, really good
Boo.
to see exactly to see to see her on the score sheet. So, Nick, I'll just switch to you quickly. We're talking about pre-season friendlies here at the moment. Can you recall any sort of big games for you that you've played in? I know, with respect, you've not played many mainstream 11-a-side games in the league, but does any stand out for you?
Pre-season friendly games. I'm not sure I was around in a team long enough to do pre-season friendlies. I probably did a bit of September, October action, probably a bit of March or something. I remember one time I played under you as well. No, actually, officially I didn't. Officially, I played. Matt Baldwin played under you, and I don't remember if that was a preseason game or a league game. We got smashed, whatever it was.
I'd like that was actually Wollaston. Now, Ellen, you won't know, but in the North Gloucestershire men's team, they're a little bit more relaxed on administration rules. So in the women's league, we've got a lovely print off with all our names and numbers and pictures so you can identify. In the men's league, you just have to write down a name. So what is a common offence is, let's say, for example, I'm down to 10 players on a Saturday morning. I could message Nick and say, Nick, you play for Bream, but do you want to come and play for me? But your name is Matt Baldwin, who plays for me anyway, but unavailable. So Nick will come down, play a game of football.
Just wanted to add there that I would never play for Bream, but let's just move swiftly past that. I'm not a Breamer.
Just an example, man. Just an example.
Don't even put me with them as an example. But
yeah.
moving swiftly on.
This is Forest rivalry here, Ellen. Apologies.
I can't believe that anyone would be so administratively, what's the word, naughty?
Lax.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't get it in our league, would you, Charlie? Or at least if you did, there would be penalties to be paid.
There would be, and I'll just switch back one more story before we talk about again back on the pre-season. But there was a time I was managing down at Viney, and I had a player called Kerry Holder, and to avoid, you're meant to put down the full name on your team sheet, but to avoid any confusions, because the worry is that when you're in the heat of the moment playing football, I've got Nick Mills playing under Matt Baldwin's name. If I get the ball at my feet and I go, Nick, I've just given the game away. So what I used to do was I would write down, let's say, Kerry Holder's name in the worst handwriting possible. And let's say I had a player called Kieran playing for me and they can't read my handwriting. And that's how I used to get around that. It was dreadful handwriting. And that's how I used to sort of skip over the rules there.
I mean, do you have nice handwriting normally? I can't tell if you'd be a nice handwriting or an awful handwriting person.
I can answer that one. No, he doesn't.
It is that of a 3-year-old that is still trying to get his pen license. I still do not have it to this day. I am still given HB pencils at work.
Nice. Yeah, I think when I used to have the team sheets when I played at uni, it would always be some like dog-eared piece of paper. You got your nice little Polly Pocket, and it's like, oh, you just by the time you've had it in like open in your bag at the side of the pitch, or Lord knows what, I'm surprised. You might as well just sort of hand in a little, oh, the ink's run. That's if you're allowed to use ink. If you're stuck with your HB pencil, then you haven't got that excuse, have you?
I'm desperate to move on, but I must just bring this up. One of my greatest highlights in a football film ever. Mike Bassett, England manager. There we go. See the facial reaction of Nick gives it all. He hands in his team sheet to his assistant, and he calls up a player called Lambert and he calls up a player called Butler, who all play in the 4th division. And he's adamant he hadn't called these players up, but it turns out he'd written his team sheet on the back of a fag packet. And so he called up Lambert and Butler. And that, to my day, is, I don't care who you are, but that has got to be some of the best comedy writing. And it's such a small thing, but it was hilarious. It was hilarious. So we'll try and get back on the topic of this half anyway. We're moving on to we've got a week off this week, obviously, Ellen, but then we're looking all forward to Abbey Mead. We usually have a game against them every year. What are you hoping for in that one? It was a good, convincing win last year. What do you think we're capable of this?
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see. Obviously, still at like an early phase of pre-season, and still trying to build upon the successes of last season. yeah, I'm not there, so I'm very intrigued to hear about what goes down in my absence.
I have to
Um,
I have to say that when Kate filled in for you against God, can't remember who it was now. We only played them now. Oh, Weston. She was actually sensational and was really, really good. So we were lucky that she stepped in.
Just a question, Ellen. Since you're not there, and you've got someone filling in for you, as a player, do you wish for the team to do well and for them to do well, or are you sort of thinking, "Oh, I hope we win 4-3"? I read that you're the keeper, right? So, are you wishing sort of like for like a 4-3 win, so that person doesn't play well, but the team still does all right?
I mean, I always think it's weird being a keeper, and as Charlie has mentioned in previous iterations of this broadcast, I wasn't necessarily the most the most. I didn't have the highest attendance last season, and I it's one of the times that I really hate being a goalie because if you're anywhere else on the pitch, you can sort of get away with it. There's probably someone who can cover your position, but being in goal, it's like more of a glaring absence. Not not to say look at me. We've been really lucky in the sort of span to date of Andoversford that we've had two keepers like and Carly's like outstanding. I have to say the last game of the season I played, the Southmead game, I think Carly had like she'd had like a stint of like three on the trot, like player of the match or like similar, something like that, where she put in a load of stellar performances, which I obviously wasn't there to see. And then we come on and I concede. I think she played the first 20 minutes, and then I played the subsequent half, and that was the first loss in a while, basically. And I was thinking, hang on, do you know what? I shouldn't be here. I should just go back on holiday. Clearly, I'm some sort of bad omen for the team. Maybe I'll just see you later. Yeah, it kind of goes. I want the team to do well. Like I'm kind of over the first season I ever played in goal. We can come on to that in a minute. But the first season I ever played in goal was really awful. So
That is a
I'm
very
I'm
politically
I've
correct
seen
answer there.
yeah I've seen it all. I've seen it all.
To be fair, going back to that game you said about there, Ellen, I don't think you had, as you say, you wasn't available very much, and then you're thrown into what could have been, well, it probably was at the time, literally a title deciding game, thrown right in the deep end. So I don't think that you can be, you've got all sorts against you there.
Excellent man managing there, backing his players in public as well. Lovely to see, Chisel. Lovely.
Sometimes, I mean, Ellen will tell you it's difficult going into a situation like that. And on this pod, Nick, we are realists. We don't have any fancy jingles like you do, but we are realists. So just looking back very quickly, Ellen, over the new signing. Obviously, Lucy has moved from Long Levens, Div 1, I believe. So a little bit of a step down for her. She'll be open and she'll say that she wasn't getting many minutes there. She joined Long Levens from Cinderford, where she was probably getting a good amount of time on the pitch. We have seen what effect she can have, but in terms of trying to create that run of form, how long do you think that she will require to build into that? Difficult question for you, I know, but from your experience, how long do you think she'll need to find full throttle again?
I think it definitely depends on like the team that we have around her. So obviously, Lucy is not an unfamiliar face to the Ford. So it'll be a pleasure to have her back. But it's kind of a very different. It's a familiar environment, somewhere she's been before, but we've had a massive change in personnel since like last we saw her. So I definitely think it will depend on kind of how she. It could be 5 minutes and we're back in the game. It could take a while to get going. I'm confident that she's a great player, and she's always she's always like a great voice to have on the pitch as well. So yeah, we can only but see.
Yeah, I mean, I think she can add a lot of depth to the squad in terms of being universal. I mean, she played central midfield for the last 25 minutes on Sunday and played majority of the minutes out wide on the left midfield. I think she's somebody that's capable of cutting in, and she did that a few times against Western, albeit on the other side of the pitch. But she's obviously got something to prove. I think she'll be buzzing to get back involved with us. Obviously, like what we've achieved, and there's a reason why I bought her to Cinderford when I was there. There's a reason why I've encouraged her to come back here as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing what she can do in the coming games. Another trialist we're obviously approaching is Tori Parker, another player from Cinderford. As you can imagine, Nick, I'm very popular in that neck of the woods.
Coaching.
But yeah, so she had a really good game against Western. She'll say that she didn't. But Nick, I'll bring this question to you again in your experience, because I know you've seen a lot of football. Central midfielder, come on, hit the crossbar, got an assist, and scored a goal. Surely that's not a bad debut.
I mean, you can't really ask for better, really, can you? I mean, yeah, you could ask for a hat trick, but for a centre midfielder to get a goal and an assist and hit the crossbar as well, that means they're getting on the ball a lot. That means they're seeing a lot of action and putting on a good display in front of the new gaffer with the new teammates. It means she's obviously slotted in well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I walked off to one side with her at the end and just said, "How did you feel?" She didn't feel she had a great game. I sort of explained basically what you said there. What what more do you need? What more do you want to have a good intro? But I think it's very difficult. You're being thrown into a squad where you literally know one or two people, and you're expecting yourself to perform. But to come away and give that that effort that she did. I think one thing I'll make a note here. One thing I've seen from Tori is I last coached her when she was 16, 17. She's 18 now, got a car, gone through, uni with Hartbury and all that jazz. And I think that maturity level has been shown on the pitch in terms of lost the ball, let's go and get it back. Let's go and help out my mate. So I think that's a really important attribute that she's added. Ellen, do you have anything else to add on Sunday? What was your overall out? Were you happy with how the squad performed?
Yeah, definitely. And I think, as I touched on earlier, like we conceded those first two goals in a very short space of time. And I think had we been, and add to that the frankly disgusting conditions, we really could have kind of shrunk away, and sort of not thrown in the towel, but really sort of not maintain that positive mentality at that point. So I think we did really well to keep pushing that forward. And I think we had like a lot of opportunities compared to what Worcester had. That we obviously capitalised on a bunch of them, but it was great to see that going forward. But yeah, I think really, really, really pleased with it, and really sort of glad that we didn't shy away from it in the end, and that we kept pushing, even though I think we all really, really, really wanted to lie down.
I mean, it's not like there's going to be Abby Mead or Ludlow listening to this pod, but I won't give away too much tactical outlook. It's quite clear that we play really direct football, but I'd love to see us try and use the wings a little bit more. I think we were very central, which isn't a bad thing. We've won 4-2, happy days. But I think that we need to remember that we can afford to stretch the play a little bit. A lot of it is very centralised. I respect we've got players like Layla in there who can run up and down all day. So you'd be silly not to utilise that. But there were times pressing forward when we had both wide players available. And one thing I must mention as well, just touching on those wide players, Lara had a quality sort of 10, 15 minutes covering a left back for me. And what I love about Venetia on the other side was that she was making those runs into the box that I would expect a forward-minded player to make. She's giving the ball out wide to either Alicia or Skip, and then attacking that box for a rebound. And that is one thing that I've been asking for all season. So to see that happen is quite refreshing. Although we didn't score a goal from that situation, the point is they're being made. And Nick, I'm sure you'll agree on this as well, that just when you've passed the ball, your job isn't done. You still have another responsibility with that. What was your in terms of your thought process? You've given that ball away in a game. I know you played a lot of six-a-side, so much quicker. You've given the ball away in a game, past your teammate. Are you one that's going to go and join the attack, or are you dropping off for a safe option?
Generally in six-a-side, I was a defender, so I would normally be at the back anyway. So if I've lost that ball, then my only focus is to get it back, and what I bring to anywhere on the pitch. And I think the best players do that wherever they are on the pitch. You want your strikers these days to track back. You want your centre midfielders getting involved in the action. I mean, that's the name of the game, is being on the ball. Pass and move is something you teach kids. So if they're doing that, then they're doing the basics right.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that I mean, in terms of squad depth now, I think we could do with a couple more players. But Ellen, certainly, I don't think I can pick up on one area in which we're actually weak. I think we've got ability all across the pitch. I suppose it's just getting those players together in one go. But certainly, I think it'd be a combination of not only having your best 11, so to speak, out there, but you need to have those players that can play together as well. So, for example, Frank Lampard, Steven Gerrard, fantastic players. Get in any squad, put them together. We saw at Euro 2024, 04, didn't really perform together very well because they're the same type of players. So I think that's a key aspect too. Before we shift on to the second part of the pod, anything to add, guys? Any questions?
I got one. As someone who's only been a Ford Ultra for about 45 minutes now, I obviously read up that you guys finished second in the league last season, if I'm correct. Now that team has obviously gone up. Cheltenham Spy, I believe it was, if I remember correctly. What are your goals for next season? Is it winning the title, going up? How's it looking so far?
So I'll chime in first and then pass that to Ellen, because I'm sure she'll have some things to add. Fortunately, you wouldn't know this, Nick, to be fair, only being a avid supporter of 45 minutes, but we did manage to clinch promotion as well. So we are actually in Division 3. I haven't looked at this, but tell me, how often does a team beat the league at this level, beat the league winners twice and come second? It never happens. We played Cheltenham Spa at home. We won 3-2, and Nick, at full time, I cried. I was that proud of everybody. Honestly, the work rate was unbelievable, and the away game again was just was unbelievable. Leanne, who was playing centre back, she's picked the ball up in our own half, taken a touch forward. She's seen the goalkeeper off the line, hit an absolute Hail Mary, and it's dipped in, and we found ourselves 1-0 up, and we just defended for our lives. So I think, in response to your question, I want to bring that form forward into Division 3, and I know that we're gonna perform there if we can keep it going.
And perhaps if the goalkeepers could be a bit more attendant this season, then maybe you'll stand an even better chance. Who knows?
I mean, I'll pass you across to Ellen in a second, but we were very lucky that one of the two was showing up. So, Ellen, what's your...
I helped, okay.
Yeah, I know. You had a busy personal year. So let's transpire. That's not the correct term. Let's move that question on to Ellen. Ellen, what are you looking for next year?
I think, again, it'll be... What I don't want to do is I don't want to say that it's going to be more challenging, even though it definitely is. But I really think I don't want us to go in being like, oh, we've really got to just sort of like get what we can and be in. I don't mean a defensive mindset in the footballing sense. Like, I don't want us to feel underdoggy. Like, I really want us to try and push forward. And I think we can really challenge. Obviously, not for the real top, but I think we can certainly give a bunch of the teams in this league a good few games, hopefully.
Well, excuse my ignorance, but like at this level, how much of a difference is there between the leagues? Have you guys already checked out some of the teams in the league above? What is the sort of level that you're looking to reach next season?
I think certainly from my perspective, I think I've commented this before, is that it can change quite dramatically between seasons as players come and go, and you've got different teams working together. I suppose Charlie probably got a more overarching view and more knowledge of local teams, perhaps.
Yeah, I mean, we played a few last season, in cup games and things. So we played Abbeymead pre-season; they're in division above us, and we did a number on them. We played Kingswood. We took them to penalties. To be honest, we probably deserved that one. And then Bishop's Cleeve Development, we played. They're the league above, which we lost on penalty. Was it penalties again? I don't think it was, wasn't it? Were you even there? I can't remember. But we lost that one. The less we say about the referee decisions in that game is probably for the best. I left there fuming, Nick. But so we have played the teams above us a handful of times. So they're not unbeatable. Cheltenham Spar's up there. We played them already, so we've got a good chance of pressing on, I think. So I think that probably does shut us down for the first half of the pod. We'll be back with the second one, where we bring you the curious case of Ken Richardson. Does that mean anything to you, Nick?
That means absolutely nothing to me, and I was not briefed on that. So
I will look forward to introducing you to our friend Ken Richardson. And of course, we bring a new little segment called Google Down. But we'll catch you in the second half. Heaven knows I tried. With the second half of the pod, I'm sure we're all rehydrated. So I thought we'd start off the second half with a new little bit of a segment called Show and Tell. As Nick very rightly pointed out in the break there, Show and Tell with just audio is very difficult. So we're going to call it Audio Descriptive and Tell. We've each got an item of football merchandise, and we're going to show the rest of the class. So, Nick, what are you donning today?
Well, without knowing that I was coming to an audio description and tell event, I just thought in the break I'd show me local credentials. As I mentioned, I live in Germany, but I do have my Gloucester City scarf. I got in the background. I was going to pull out me boys. As I say, he's 3, but he's got a Gloucester City shirt, of course. I've got my Gloucester City bobble hat in the winter clothing suitcase. But yeah, this is what I got. As soon as you send me over some Ford merchandise, I'd be happy to don that and spread the word.
We'll absolutely do that, mate. We'd love that. We've got a few bits kicking around. We've actually got a club shop, mate, and that's not a lie. I'll send you the link. So you're not going to get free merchandise. So I'll throw it out there because I know that's what you were looking for.
What else would I be looking for?
Well, this is very true.
When are you going to start live streaming the game so that the Germany fan club can start in earnest?
Nick, look, Charlie can barely record the podcast. I think live streaming might be. Maybe we should send him on a course. Maybe we should send him on a course and do some live streaming.
I'm sure that is a thing. They call it computers for the greys or something, or I don't know, but it must exist somewhere.
I mean, you've got a media team at the club, right? I mean, the one video I saw on your Facebook page had some excellent slow motion Charlie with windswept hair walking through. It looked rather interesting.
That is our one-man media team, Stuart Hall, who shows up twice a season through no fault of his own. He's a very, very busy man. He's just been in Germany. He's been in Dubai. You name it, he's probably been there. He's big into his horsing events. So, Ellen, what have you brought to tell us about today?
Well, because it's audio descriptive and tell, I'm cheating. Unbeknownst to our listeners, I'm pretending that I've got my scarf with me because it's in the next room, and that actually was a little too far for me to go and get it. But the closest merch that I have available to me is an England-Belgium scarf from the most recent Women's Nations League game. So that was down at Ashton Gate. It's always entertaining to go to women's football games in the sort of local area because I see so many people I know. So I bumped into people from uni. I bumped into Amy and Imogen from the Ford. Actually, I bumped into... So I booked tickets to go with my other half. It was a bit of a... So his family are Belgian. So it was a little bit, England, Belgium. He was wearing his England shirt in case he, anyone asked him, you look Belgian. He doesn't look Belgian. But we booked tickets. we booked tickets, and we were sat one row away from the entirety of the rest of Andoversford. You couldn't make it up. In the whole of Ashton Gate, we somehow ended slap bang in the same place. And then just the other side of the aisle from me were two people I know from work, which was also really weird.
Just a quick one there, Ellen. I think you know, but I drop it at every opportunity I can. I drop this little bit of my life. Nick, I've actually scored a goal at Ashton Gate.
Have you?
Now, I keep telling people it was a 40-yard screamer. So I'll just paint the picture very quickly because this is show and tell. Ellen, you've got your hand raised. How can I help you?
I think this number seems to get the anecdote seems to get more fanciful every time I hear it. It's going up and up. By the end of the season, it'll be like, yeah, I actually was stood in the 6-yard box at the other end of the pitch, and it just went in.
When I last heard this story, it was 30 yards. If I'm going to be honest.
Oh, you've heard the story.
I haven't. I'm just.
Oh, I got you. So I'll just set the scene very quickly because we've got my show and tell to go next. We're playing in a charity game for I can't remember what his name was, which is really bad of me. But we were raising money for his family. He was a child with cancer. Sadly, didn't make it into the game. So we, rather than donating it to him, we gave it to his family. We played at Ashton Gate, and I was playing with my friend. You might know Stu Watkins, Ashton Adams. I'm sure you do. So I never forget the moment, mate. It was a corner. The ball has come into the box. I'm on the outside of the box. It's been headed out. Ashton will tell you he set me up. He's fallen over the ball. Right, I'm a few yards away from the edge of the area. I just said 40 yards to make it sound good. And mentally, I've absolutely hit the thing as hard as I can, like I have unleashed Thor on this football, right? I could not hit the ball any harder. And it's gone in the bottom corner. And I ran away, all that jazz. Now, one of my friends, Paul, was watching me at the time. And I said, mate, look at that. You know, happy days. And he's gone, that was very nicely slotted home. Oh, and I thought I've actually hit that, and you thought I've tapped that in, mate. Disappointing. I should have bought my show and tell for that, but I don't. So you got to go with my next one. Here I have in my hand a
chisel.
Yes.
Before you go on to that, that Ashton Adams, when we were at school, he always told people that his middle name was Gate and that his name was Ashton Gate Adams. Could you get on and confirm that with him for me if that's actually a thing?
I will get in touch with him and let you know. I am very aware that he is named after Ashton Gate.
Yeah, but he always told us his name was Ashton Gate Adams.
I would question the legitimacy of that, but I will find out for you. No problem.
Thank you. Look forward to
that. Yeah, you're welcome. Moving on for the obviously it's an audio podcast, so I'll do a bit descriptive here. I'm holding a white football boot with a slightly discoloured sole. Can be described as probably a pale white now, and I have 2 signatures on there. Nick, can you make out what 2 signatures they are?
One of them is definitely what looks like some waves crashing into the beach, and underneath is written Diego brackets 10. I can only assume that's Maradona. The other one is a lovely blue color, an Argentina blue color, I would say, but looks like it says "Good luck, Pele." So I'm sure Pele loved receiving a good luck message to himself there. Yeah, is it a Maradona and Pele signed boot, Chisel?
It looks like a Maradona and Pele signed boot. I would very much question the legitimacy of that. That was a mouthful. Because what are the odds of you running into an Argentinian legend and a Brazilian legend who, forgive me, I don't think have ever played in the same league? They may well have done.
I mean, I know that they used to do a lot of events together sort of after the game, and you do see videos of them together at certain corporate events. So, I mean, there is the legitimate possibility that Diego Maradona and Pele have written their names on that boot.
My next question is, I've been to a big event with Maradona and Pele, and I've gone, Maradona, have this black pen, and he signed the boot. Why am I then going to go, Pele? Hang fire a second, mate. Let me get me blue Sharpie from the car. I would question how real that is.
Well, again, they could have also got it signed at different times. So they did not have to. It is a written memory. So again, they did not have to sign it at the same time. You're assuming they signed it at the same time, but we don't know this for sure.
As a collector of some sorts, at no point do I carry a boot around me consistently throughout my day-to-day life, just in the odds and hopes of running into a professional footballer to sign my boot, which Maradona or Pele has previously signed. So I think that is probably rubbish.
For the benefit of the listener, Charlie has just yeeted the boot over his shoulder.
The boot is yoked.
Instant regret in case it is real. What you don't know is after this, we're going to go back and clean it and then put it straight on eBay. So to mix things up a little bit, I thought we would talk about a young, well, he's not young anymore, but a player that literally burst onto the international scene at youth level. Bristol City legend. Oh, Nick, yes, hand raised.
Before you go on to that, wasn't I meant to choose which one's the best?
No, that was for the last bit.
Sorry. Spoiler alert. I was just really looking forward to choosing between a boot that we may or may not know is real and a scarf that I haven't seen.
Okay. Please pick.
Having actually seen the boot, I believe that's the only real choice I can make, to be honest. I just have to sort of believe the scarf exists.
You could go rogue and choose your own scarf.
You're not wrong. I'm going to go my scarf. I'm going to go Big Gloucester City. Up the Tigers.
Nick, you've taken that one. Well done. I hope you're happy. Now take your scarf and get out of my house. You're not in my house, but
I have awarded myself a trophy that I had already won before I came on the podcast.
So now what was I saying? Oh yes, apologies. A young international footballer that burst onto the scene with a goal. Bristol City legend. Played at Chelsea. Some questionable stories about him currently going around in the media for the last couple of years. Leroy Lita, ex-Reading player, played at Middlesbrough as well, had a little stint in, I believe, Thailand. Now back on English soil. Nick, out of interest, I'm sure you've done your research. You did your research on us. What curious findings have you found on what clearly appears to be a journeyman of Leroy Lita?
Well, firstly, I just wanted to say I'm not sure if it's pronounced Lita or Lita. I have never had that officially confirmed for me, but we'll go with Lita. We'll go with the accepted pronunciation from the host here. Honestly, when I think of Leroy Lita, it was sort of 2002 time, 2003. It was peak Championship manager era. I believe he was a mainstay of your Bristol City teams that you would play constantly with back then. Him and a certain Ewald Kibler, if I'm getting the name right, would be the first two names on the team sheet.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you couldn't miss them. Now, I've actually got a little bit of a fun fact for you, and there's a reason I picked Leroy Lita. Now we can dissect this story a little bit because I'm sure you will both have some questions. I actually have, and I'm not lying, I have Leroy Lita's phone number in my phone book, and I accidentally rejected a call from him probably about 3 months ago. And since then, he has never spoken to me.
I have 1,000 questions regarding that. Why do you have it? Why did he call you? And considering his name you mentioned is currently going through the press for some certain dirty dealings or something, are you involved?
I have additional questions, which is Charlie's phrasing implies that they were in regular contact prior to this. It's like, I missed a call from him and then I haven't heard from him since, as if you've somehow upset him and he's, ghosted you.
I feel like Chaz, as soon as the Rozzers got involved, he sort of cut contacts and sort of began the cover-up operation right there. Whatever has happened, I'm sure Chaz is going to tell us about it, but whatever he's done.
Let's dissect this. So, as you are probably aware, Leroy Lita has had more clubs than me. I'm not going to count here, but as I look at my Wikipedia page to the left-hand side of me, but it looks like he's probably had about 20 plus teams. Now, in the 23-24 season, he played for a team called Nuneaton Borough, which are no longer in existence, might I add. Now, at the beginning of the season, I spotted his name come up on Facebook, and I thought, that is a name out of nowhere. He's played at teams like Chelmsford, Salisbury, Margate, teams that I would never even look at social media. And this just algorithm, I'll look at this, chucked Leroy Leeton my way. So I popped Nuneaton a message, and I introduced myself, and I said I was the manager at Cinderford, and I said I'd like to sponsor Leroy Leeton, as a which you can do in almost any level. So he's given me the options, and I've paid £200, 200 English pounds to sponsor a team that I believe is in the Southern League standard. That's not even professional football. And I've sponsored his home and away shirt. And I'm promised my name in the programme, not really bothered. I'm promised a couple of match tickets, not really bothered. And I'm promised his 2 shirts. Now, sorry, I've also promised a thank you message from Leroy Leeton himself. Hence the phone number. We'll come on to that one in a minute. So after months and months and months, I'm thinking, rather than say thank you to me, can I use my one message from ex-international powerhouse Leroy Leeton? Is he powerhouse? Probably not, but we move on.
Was he even international?
Say again?
Was he even international? Oh, England under 21s accounts.
Under 21s, he actually scored 6 games. Scored 6 goals in 9 games. So not a bad record, but was never seen since. I suspect that's because he moved to Charlton Athletic on loan and went down the toilet a little bit.
He also played in Thailand for a spell after leaving big Yeovil town. Oh, and what is that? Greece? Yeah, Greece. So I guess you could call him international powerhouse. I guess the term international does fit here.
I mean, I'm looking here. I didn't realise he actually played for Nuneaton Borough once. I mean, I've not been to that reputable area of the world, but the fact he went there twice must mean their Wetherspoons are incredibly good, I'd have thought. So in a nutshell, Nuneaton Borough went bust, everybody. They folded. So if any of the committee are listening, I did not get my 2 Leroy Leeton match shirts. I did not get my name in any programmes. I did not get any match tickets, but I did get the opportunity of a phone call from Mr. Leroy Leeton himself, who, no introduction, no message, straight phone call off WhatsApp. This was about 3 months later. I've rejected the call, and I've messaged him as you do. Who is this? 2 words, Leroy Leeton. And that is the last I heard of Mr. Leroy Leeton. So,
did you respond to it? Did you try and call back?
I did. I don't want to close down the app, but I could tell you, I could give you his phone number, Nick, if you want to.
Please, I'll get on it.
Yeah, I'll send it to you. We'll do it. We'll get pod mission. Nick, your pod mission is to get my Nuneaton shirts from Leroy Leeton.
But that might be more difficult. He's not associated with the club anymore, and it's shut down. So I'm not sure that's. I would like to get a video message. Thank you, at least.
Yeah, we can do that. I'm sure you could probably pull that out of the bag. So I think now it's time to play our new game, our little section of the pod called Google Down, which is definitely not another thing I've stolen from another podcast from somewhere deep in New Zealand, where I'm sure they'll never hear this, so it will never be a problem.
You're really lucky that I actually don't really listen to podcasts, so you could plausibly convince me that you are just conjuring these up from your own brain.
I also have never heard of this game, so you're actually just playing your hand here to complete unbeknownst victims of yourself here, Chisel.
Yeah, I just want to point out that, I mean, you may have forgotten, Ellen, I'm sure you haven't, but Nick, in our football team, we have various amounts of lawyers and police women, so I'm just covering my own back when I say it's not mine. I'm not trying to nick anything. 100% this belongs to the Brie and Clint show from ZM in New Zealand. They're cracking. Have a listen. Google Down. Rules are simple, guys. Nick?
My only question is, what are you doing listening to New Zealand radio?
It is hilarious. Give it a go. They are unhinged. It literally kicks English radio. I can't say what I was about to say, but it does kick it very hard. So, Google down. Nice and easy, guys. You both have mobile phones. You need to make sure that you are on your home screen, and I will give you a question. You are to Google the question as quick as you can. The first person to relay the answer back to me will take a point. If my maths is correct here, we do have the chance to do best out of first to three, but I might be wrong. Who knows? Unscripted. Let's do it. Are you both ready?
Yes.
Yes.
Your names are your buzzers. Okay, you cannot buzz in early. In fact,
So sorry, your name. Does one have to say one's own name?
Yes, I think.
correct.
Excellent.
We are getting there.
Good.
This was much better described on the Brian Clint show than what I'm giving you currently.
I think
Okay.
those guys probably briefed their guests before playing the game as well, so they didn't have to ask these questions live on air. But carry on, Chisel. I'm enjoying hearing the rules for the first ever time.
We are professionals here, Nick. Okay. Are you guys ready? Okay, so question 1. Where did Carlos Tevez start his youth career?
Nick, Boca Juniors.
Incorrect. You want a free stab at the dark, Ellen?
All Boys Buenos Aires.
Yes, 1-0 to Ellen, the home team. Okay,
youth career. Sorry.
remember your scores because I don't have a production team behind me. I'm going to forget them. Ellen 1-0. Question 2. Who is Chelsea's third most expensive player? Typing very furiously there. Level of concentration is unbelievable.
Lukaku. My name is Ellen and it's Romelu Lukaku.
Yes, correct.
I don't understand the rules, Charlie. I don't understand the rules.
Yes, correct.
Formerly, West Brom legend, might I add, Romelu Lukaku.
It was, in fact, Lukaku. Have you got the price tag on Lukaku there?
Nick.
Google AI says
113 million
€97.5
euros.
Oh, we've
that
answered
was-
in different currencies. Oh, no.
I should have said, sorry, that was not a question.
Well, it doesn't matter, mate. You know, play your own rules. I buzzed in my name and I got it right. I'm looking for a point here.
I will give you, for the sake of the game, to prolong it, I'll give it 2-1. I'll give you a point. Ellen is fuming. Nick is overjoyed with that. Question number technically 4, but 3 on the script. What is David Beckham's favourite colour?
Ellen says purple.
Incorrect. Nick, free guess?
Beckham's favourite.
You do have all the time in the world here, to be fair. I've not thought this free guess through, have I?
Well, I assume it's whichever crayon tastes the best for him.
I'm not sure you can say that.
Sorry, Sir David. No, I believe it's gold.
So I've actually got something completely different. I've got blue.
David Beckham's favorite color is widely reported to be gold, according to a Facebook post from Bumblebee Bikes. Okay, maybe my sources are not the best.
I think the best course of action there is to is to cross that question off because I've not even heard of the source you got that from.
Bumblebee Bikes. Well, the boys down at Bumblebee Bikes are going to be fuming.
Rightly so. Okay, moving on. It's currently 2-1 in favour of Ellen. How many league titles has Valencia won? Question from the Spanish section of the world there. Maria from Ford might have an idea.
Ellen says 6.
6 is the correct answer, which does make it 3. Nick is not happy. 3-1 to Ellen. Nick, I feel like there's a little bit of lag between us and Germany, but tough luck.
Well, that's what I'm going to put it down to. And also during that last question, I realized I put myself on mute to not disturb the audio, and then realized no, I actually need to be on so that I can shout my name. So that also took a lot of time away from me Googling my abilities to Google. I believe coming on a podcast just to get hammered is not really, just a suggestion for a future guest, is not really the best way to do things. But carry on however you like. I'm not.
If it makes you feel any better, Nick, I am really fast at Googling.
Apparently.
Okay, we'll play the last 2 questions just for funsies. I had a tiebreak, which I'll put at the end because that's a bit of a fun one. Okay, so question number however many we are now, because the gold answer threw me off. How many Ballon d'Ors does Ronaldinho have?
Nick.
Yes.
None.
Incorrect. I think you were
One.
very lucky there. Just to interrupt, Alan. I think you're lucky that you were spoken over there, Nick. But a profanity did leave, did le- did leave Nick's mouth at the time when he was got the question wrong. So, Ellen, free guess.
Is it one?
It is in fact one. Nick,
I just counted up. I just added one.
you are performing much like Doncaster did in '93, which we'll touch on shortly. Funnily enough. Okay, last question because this has gone on far long enough after Nick's beating. Who is currently, so right now, who is currently placed second in Liga Portugal 2?
Nick, Benfica.
Correct, Nick. Benfica B. Now, I just want to point this out there. The name of the game was called Google Down, and in the last 3 questions, none of you picked up a phone. So either I need to make the questions harder, or you guys are just guessing with some Hail Marys. I mean,
We ain't got a leg
comment.
to stand on, have we?
No comment.
No, the silence actually says it all. So with that in mind, we'll put that game in the bin. Thank you very much. So, with Ellen storming through that game, I think it's probably a good time to move on to the second little bit about Leroy Lita. Now, he's a profanic goal scorer. I've got the stats in front of me. At Hendersfield Town, he scored 17 goals in 20. What have I missed?
Sorry, I've just been waving frantically trying to get me pointing. What I could suggest, Chisel, is another game from a similar podcast that you could perhaps steal and would have full permission to steal. It was a little game called what was it called? It was called Anorak versus Anorak, which you may or may not have heard of. It was previously mentioned on this very podcast, actually. Millsy and Mason's Football Hootenanny. Cheers.
We're going to, surprisingly enough, I don't know how it's happened, but this is going to need a part 3 because we're about to run over time again. So I have to ask, can we get a part 3 in from you guys?
I took me best.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's
As
go.
long as part three isn't another half an hour. Because
No, part 3.
everyone stopped listening already.
Part 3, I think we park the curious cases and we see the Leroy Lita conversation out, and we come back with Anorak versus Anorak, which Nick, you're more than welcome to host.
Does that mean I'm not going to get to judge anything?
Oh, okay. Let's end this here. We'll catch up in part 3. We would require a part 3. Our first episode was half an hour long, and we're now hitting the rounds of an hour. So I think that we'll probably divide this up into a 3-parter, or certainly a 2-parter. We're going to leave Leroy Lita where he is. We're going to leave Anorak versus Anorak where it is. And Nick is going to come back on and host a game for us. But now we come on to our last segment, called the Curious Case. Now, both me and Ellen have got a curious case of the footballing world, Nick, and I'd love for you to tell us which one you think is the most interesting for you. So, Ellen, I'll give you first choice. Would you like to play your hand first, or shall I head up the line?
No, you can go first.
That's because you want to know all about Ken Richardson, who bought Doncaster Rovers in 1993. Always a questionable character, Nick. 10 years before that, he was banned from horse racing after entering a rather experienced horse into a beginner's race, winning by at least 20 lengths. He did have a suspended sentence as well for fraud.
Was he the rider or the owner?
He was the owner. So he bought Doncaster Rovers in Division 3 and promised the fans in 5 years Premier League football, as every owner does. He smashed through managers like no tomorrow, probably linked to the fact that he picked his own team and subs from the stands, presumably via walkie-talkie. One manager actually turned up to a game to find he had been fired, and the new manager had replaced him already, only being in the job an hour before kickoff. Fans turned on him really quickly. In fact, he offered one fan to sit in the director's box with him and point out which sections of the stand were booing his name so he could ban them from games. Page number 2, we're nearly there. A few months, this is a good one. This is when you know you've got problems with your chairman. A few months after buying the club, he posted an ad in a local newspaper to sell the club stadium, which would be good as a shopping centre or hotel. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. After no buyer was found, in 1995, a strange fire broke out in the main stand and blew the roof off. The press asked to have a little stroll around, but he did say, I'm not going to go in there in case I leave some forensic evidence. It turns out that Ken Richardson had hired an ex-SAS who left his phone on site to burn down the stand. The police found the phone that was left in the press room with a message that had been sent to Ken saying, job done. I mean, was he really an ex-SAS? I doubt it.
Based on that one sole piece of evidence, I would say I would be very, very. I would be as skeptical about that as the veracity of your boot earlier. So,
I mean, I very much think that he should probably get his money back if that was the case. But left his phone in the press room with literally a message to the chairman with the words "job done." I mean, come on, play the game. Play the game.
are we thinking? Yeah, but is it is it XSAS has done the job wrong, or sold his services wrong to old Ken, or maybe police cover up? We're not going to breach on that obviously in the course of this podcast, but
while this is true, at the end of the day, somebody left their phone behind that should have been a highly trained professional in theory, and left a massive paper trail. Well, not paper trail, but like evidence trail.
what happened after that?
I didn't do my research into that much in fear that I'd be talking for too long. So that's as far as I've got. I believe he left, and the fans. If that's not a good reason to leave, I don't know what is. And the fans did something to something else, but I don't know what because I didn't want to bore you. So that is my card played. Ellen, I'll hand over to you with your extensive research on North Korean football.
Yes, I have done much research. The research has involved Charlie sending me some WhatsApp messages.
And I've definitely not made it worse than mine, so I can claim a win. Carry on.
We do things professionally here at the Unnamed and Oversford podcast. So, Nick, in 2010, North Korea played a friendly against a team that were presented as the Brazilian national team, but it was actually a fourth division Brazilian club called Atletico Sorocaba. Excuse my pronunciation, any Brazilians. The North Korean regime reportedly tricked its audience into believing that they were playing against the actual Brazilian national team, with the match ending in a 0-0 draw, because the Brazilian team were reportedly in fear of any repercussions if they were to win. So this is because North Korea, having qualified for the 2010 World Cup in South Africa, wanted some friendlies under their belt before the tournament, but most national teams didn't really fancy going to North Korea. So they found Atletico Sorocaba from the Brazilian 4th Division who were willing to play the game. So the match was presented to the North Korean public as a game against the actual Brazilian national team, with a crowd of 80,000 in attendance. The match ended 0-0 because the Brazilian 4th Division team, aka national team, were allegedly holding back, fearing the consequences of a victory or even a remotely embarrassing performance for the North Korean side.
So with that in mind, Nick, where are you putting your vote?
Oh, I mean, the first one was essentially half a story. I want to know what happened to Ken Richardson, where he ended up. Is he a potential future podcast guest? The second story, I would question the veracity of this. How did this story get out? Secondly, have you pronounced it right? Another thing I'm skeptical of, the Sorocaba. The third thing I'm skeptical about is like North Korea regularly. I mean, they qualified for the World Cup. That they didn't make that up. So I mean, they must be better than a fourth tier side. Oh no, Dominic, Chaz has presented visual evidence in a stunning upset. I think I'm going to have to go. With it. I'm so shocked by the fact that there is actual visual evidence of this thing taking place. I think I'm going to have to go with the second one. Chaz, you've a little question to you here. You've just single-handedly lost yourself this edition of whatever this game was called. First thoughts and feelings, please.
It's called the Curious Cases, but I'm going to change that because I can't pronounce that at the best of times. And I think you'll find that although Ellen won, technically I won because I gave Ellen the story.
That is true. Yeah.
So,
for what it's worth, Brazil went on to beat North Korea 2-1 at the actual 2010 World Cup. The real Brazil this time.
Which again makes me question how they didn't beat a fourth-tier Brazilian side. How good is that fourth-tier Brazilian side, first of all?
I mean,
wow.
If I'm beating North Korea in North Korea, I would not expect to get home, Nick, to be fair. I feel that I would probably be, I don't want to be too political on here because that's what it's about, but I would probably not be getting out in a rush.
I'm going to restrict comment on that for fear of getting too political on this podcast.
Correct.
The point is, Ellen won, you didn't, and I feel that's the story here going forward.
I think that's probably a good place to kill off this barely alive section of the podcast because we have spoken for a long time. But guys, thank you so much for your time. Obviously, we go into the rest of pre-season now where we face Abbey Mead next week. Should be a really good game there. We're hoping to build a good string of performances before we face some more out-of-county teams. Ellen, thank you again so much for your time.
Yep, cheers Charlie, and cheers Nick.
Nick, thank you for yours. Will you come back on, mate, and do Anorak versus Anorak?
I can't wait to, mate. I am absolutely looking forward to it. I also can't wait to stand up soon because I've been sat, as I said, on my in my 3-year-old's room on one of his little wooden chairs for going on an hour now. So my bum has wholly gone to sleep. Up the Ford.
Thank you. Up the Ford, indeed. Thank you very much, guys. Take it easy, and we will see you soon.